It's one of those things.
Holiday recap.
It's one of those things where you don't remember
It's like
what you did.
What were you doing that was not so memorable? Or
No,
it was too memorable you can't say in
I went
public?
to the Lynx New Year's Eve gala.
Okay, how was that?
It was good. It was a long time. Like, it started at 8 and it didn't end until 12.
Yeah,
that was
that's
a
a
long
lot.
time to be somewhere.
That's a lot.
That's
Yeah,
4
you made it
hours.
to midnight though. What about you? Did you make it? Do people stay up? Is that a thing that
Yeah.
you do?
I didn't.
You didn't stay up?
I made it.
Okay.
To 12.
Yeah, I was up. Yeah.
Okay. Does
That's
it
all I was
count
gonna
if
say.
you fell asleep and woke up?
Before.
I woke up at 11:42.
Yeah, that counts.
Yeah, we
that
get
counts.
it.
That counts. That
Okay.
counts.
11:59
Okay.
stretching it.
Okay. Yeah. Right.
I think if you
yeah,
wake
like,
up
no alarm,
afterwards,
like,
it doesn't count.
Like I put the kids to bed. I fell asleep and then I woke up and I was like, all right, like let's
I
do
also
it.
don't know.
Let's
I think
get
it was fun when I was growing up, but I don't know what I'm supposed to be waiting for.
It's hard.
I don't know what I'm waiting for.
You're waiting for being tired the next
Today
day.
is the same day as tomorrow. I don't know.
What is today but tomorrow's yesterday?
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, right.
You stole that.
All right.
Pay
I
attention.
stole it
Well-
from my dad. All right, let's start the show.
Yes. Welcome to Envision Radio from the United Way of Greater Charlottesville, City of Promise, News Radio 98.9, 1070 AM WINA, brought to you by the Jefferson Foundation. With
Sponsor.
Markey and Price coming to you right from here from the studio in downtown Charlottesville. Today we're thrilled to be joined by Zach Hall, a Charlottesville native, entrepreneur, and music artist. I hope you can give us a little. Every artist that comes in here, we ask them to spit a little bit, so hopefully you're ready to spit off the cup.
Oh, Lord.
So we're happy to have you. Thanks for coming today.
Thank you for having me. Honestly, like I'm super excited. Yeah.
We all right. So talk to us. Give us a little bit of the backstory. So Charlottesville native. Are you an actual Charlottesville native? Or are you like her, where you like pretend to be from Charlottesville, but you're really from Orange? Look,
That's
we're
what I do.
territorial
Why do you
about,
always say
about our
that?
stuff? Because y'all
Don't
be doing
tell
that.
people
Y'all are like,
that
oh.
what you think is you're literally telling people my secret.
Listen. You talk about it all the time. You
Yeah,
can't
I'm like, yo, you know, when I claim the city, you know how it is.
Oh man, nah. Me for real. I'm born and raised
Okay.
Charlottesville. Yeah.
Okay.
Marshall Jefferson was where I was
There
born.
you go.
Oh,
what was
hey.
your city school route?
Alma. Yeah.
You went to
AHS.
Alma?
Yeah.
Did
yeah.
you?
Not too
There we
alone.
go.
Yeah.
That's right. All right. Cool. So tell us a little bit about growing up. What was growing up like, and a little bit of that. I think always the interesting question for me, for people who are from here and stayed here, was that part of the plan? Did you try and leave and come back? What was that? I think as you sort of became and were growing, what was the idea of sort of how you saw yourself through your adolescence and growing up?
Okay, so like the way I answer into like me walking into like who I am today, I played sports my whole life, and like I've always done sports, like from like baseball to like you can say track, football, and all that. So year round AU, and then just growing up, I was first introduced into like music at Albemarle, and
Okay.
that was after like being transparent got cut from the team. So it's like
Okay.
I had to figure out what else to do at that time, and I was introduced to that space, and then also introduced to like just being able to create. And
Mhm.
like that's something like I've always been doing, like been sketching and all that. And that's a long story to saying like, yeah, like I could have either went to UVA or I could have went to ODU, but I chose ODU because that's my dad's side. So I wasn't far from home, you could say metaphorically.
That's really it's close, right? It's
Yeah,
only
yeah.
like
ODU is about 3 hours away.
3 hours away.
Right. It's
Oh.
Newport News.
It's in Virginia.
Yeah. Tidewater region.
Yeah.
So
down by
And
the,
ODU
down by
is
the
up.
beach.
They up. They like the football team was doing great. Like
Mhm.
they are putting themselves on the map over there.
and they got some
5-7's on the way
kids.
back.
Yeah, NFL too. So,
Yeah. So you were. So when were you at Albemarle?
I graduated 2016. So 2012, 2016.
So my dad still would have been there. He retired in 2019.
Who's your dad?
Greg Thomas.
I can't see his face.
He was the band director there. So he was down there in that wing.
That's
yeah.
Oh, that's your dad. Oh, I didn't
Bro.
remember.
You
No.
got a sister?
I got 2 sisters. Yeah.
Bro, y'all look identical.
Yeah.
Yes, they do. They do. Look, not
Identical,
until
bro.
I met one of them, I was like,
Wow.
"You look so familiar." I saw her at Comm
Yeah,
House,
I hope
and a friend
so,
introduced
yeah.
us. I was like, "Thomas,
Yeah.
that is crazy. She looks just like another person I know."
Yeah.
He was like, "Oh, that's probably sister." I was like, "Oh, okay."
That's what people are like. People tell me like, your kids look alike. I'm like, they better.
Who the hell they gonna be
Like,
looking
what? I'd be
like?
concerned. They're like, that one kind of looks like that
Yeah.
other person. Like they got the same parents, man. Like, what are we talking about?
That's very true.
So you go to ODU.
Yes.
And so you have this, you're thinking about sort of this more creative output. What did you like? Did you study that in school? Like, was your path like I'm gonna go be a creator, or did you do the more traditional? Like, okay, I gotta do something that has an end, and then I'm
Okay.
gonna side hustle some of this other stuff.
So the funny story is, my inspiration behind like music career and all that sparked when I saw HBO's like special for J. Cole when he done that
Okay.
for 2014 Forest Hill Drive. So I went to ODU, originally doing engineering like my dad did, and then I switched to computer science like my brother, and then I fell in love with just the idea of taking 2 extra classes to get like a double degree for business.
Right. Okay.
And I like numbers, like I'm a math dude. So I went into the music industry, I would say untraditionally, not going to like Berkeley school to study like like music theory, but I took music classes when I had the opportunity to.
Okay.
Like, I even snuck into the studio ODU like when I was there. So
Yeah.
I figured it out like creative wise by myself, but understanding the admin portion of it was all like through school because you had to. In my point.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, the music of business as a whole.
yeah.
What
Business
is
of
the music of business?
I
Business of
mean,
music.
in reality, when you say you're selling entertainment, like I'm going to show you a little bit of this show, but you got to show up. That's what like entertainment business is in reality. Like same thing with like video games. Like I'm gonna show you a little bit of this, but you got to buy it. In reality, business is a transaction. That's why when you look at stuff online and like you kind of like want to, it's the same thing for like music. So that's what I kind of figured out. But it's really how you package it at the end of the day. That's why some people are really good with touring and some people are really good with like subscriptions like Kai.
Sure.
Yeah, so that's how I kind of see it.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Oh, that makes sense.
It's just how you selling it. This is what are you selling, how you selling it. You gotta be direct at some point.
Everybody's a brand.
At some point. I mean reality. Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah. So
What So let's go back to it forward. So as you're coming through high school and you're doing the sports thing, how was that shift, right? When you make the transition into, and that's hard to do. It's hard to do at any age, but it's particularly hard to do at an age when sort of identity is everything, right? And you're trying to, and I remember being in high school and you're a different person every day, right? And you're just trying to figure out where you fit, right? So how was that, and who helped you sort of sort through that? Hey, I'm going to do this next thing. I found another niche over here, right?
well, I'm gonna be honest, I never told my parents I wanted to like be an entrepreneur.
Okay.
So
I'm gonna keep that to myself.
Yeah, like, and it's funny because like I remember hearing this one J. Cole lyric, like, if you let him kill your dreams, it's gonna haunt you. So I'm not gonna try to sell you on like what I want to be in life, because most of the time when you tell the people who haven't done it, they're gonna just tell you how much they don't want to do it. So I figured that out at a young age. So my shift was really being around good people, good friends that allowed me to like fail and not really understand it and figure myself out, and then just continue to like find mentorship, like honestly throughout the way. And when I see mentorship is like, you're doing something I don't like have access to do, let me just have a conversation with you in reality instead of ask for something. So I just done that along the way, and I just like brought me in the doors. So
So when you were in high school, you transitioned to music.
yeah.
Were you putting out mixtapes? Were you in the school line after school battling? Like, what kind of artist were you trying to transition into being? Like, what is that record? Like I said, I don't know what was going on in high school, so I don't know if J. Cole was. I guess J. Cole was out.
Yeah,
He was. So, what is that first record that you were like, I want to be
I got you.
like this dude?
Okay, so
And taking it to the pencils on the table in the lunchroom.
So I was an introvert. So I wasn't out there like, yo, like get in this circle. You feel me? But you can ask my boys. I would give them late to class. So, but my first project was called The Come Up, and I made that with a karaoke mic, tube sock, and the like doll was called Mixcraft. And I just figured it out after that. Like I just grabbed some like old songs off of like Joey Badass and stuff, Big Sean, and I didn't realize I was doing like therapy and spoken word, but like, yeah, that's what it was for the first like try to come up and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish I could hear it. God, is it on somewhere? You guys, is it on?
It's on SoundCloud hidden, so like, I can see that.
I have not been on SoundCloud. I have not
neither.
since I was in high school. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Once I got onto like college, I started using Spotify. I was like, oh yeah, everybody on here, but not really.
Yeah.
All the people that you used to listen to when you back in the day was on SoundCloud.
Yeah, J. Cole's on SoundCloud.
Yeah,
killing it.
sure.
Till today? Or, I mean, back in it.
I mean, today is more commercial.
Oh.
Yeah, well, and so that's an interesting question, right? And in this sort of business of entertainment, like people could argue that the product, we talked about this, about like media, that like people, I think every generation thinks their generation's product was better or was purer or was closer to the thing, right? So to your point, a lot of older, and even older than me, artists were what you would consider musicians. They were trained musicians. And now we get sort of the other end of the spectrum where it's sort of like like even stuff that for me, I don't consider myself very old, but I'm like, even I don't really understand that.
Yeah, yeah.
What music? What when you're saying somebody about musician, who are you, comes to mind when you say that?
When I say musicians,
Yeah, yeah.
Well-
Who's in your era? Or who are you saying
well,
that
like
is?
the people who like and again, I'm biased because I was raised by like my aunt is a principal violist in the New York Philharmonic, so I was raised
Okay.
around like that type of musician.
Yeah.
But even popular musicians that were older, I mean, you think about people like the Beatles, they were musicians.
My immediate thought was Stevie Wonder. Like he was a musician.
Stevie Wonder
He
was
was
a
on the keys.
musician,
He was
right?
arranging the music. That's what I think about.
Yeah, sure, even there. I mean,
Yeah.
but you have these things, and then you can get further. Anyway, I'm saying all this to say
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
How do you feel about that? Like, do you feel that in this world where it is more commercial, the incentives are about popularity, sometimes over product, like good, bad? How does that feel to someone who makes the stuff and who is advising people? Because we've heard all these stories of like, you know, you think about the way that even a lot of pop songs are. You know, you've got all these people that are writing songs, and it was like if Esther Dean sang half the stuff she wrote, it wouldn't have made it out of
Right.
the office.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Right. So what does that mean for the and so there's all this like complication. So someone who's deeper into, how do you feel about that? Is it like this is weird because music is now just like it's less pure, people are thinking less about the construction, they just want the thing that they know will sonically hit you, or are you like, well, it's just it is what it is?
So are you asking my opinion on like today's state of like music and how accessibility allowed a lot of people to say they are music artists?
I think so. And I think about people like the Chainsmokers, right?
Okay.
You could argue one of two things. You could argue that like they just know that something that hits at 180 beats a minute with these chord progressions works. They don't have to do, and you don't need to have
Yeah.
ever played an instrument or picked up a thing to do that.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do we think about that?
So like my thoughts on it is it's really like where you coming from and what's your end goal? Like what's your end game into it? And music is really at some point like subjective. So like I don't have the right to say that sucks or that's excellent because somebody can have the whole like other like spectrum. But the real point is like why are you making it? Like why are you making it? Because if you're making it to be egregious and like demonize or like discriminate, then like I'm not gonna vote for that. And that's just my opinion on it. But in reality of like the state of business is oversaturation. So like a lot of people say
Yeah.
quality over quantity. Like I worked in the music industry and like there are really great songs. But the thing is they don't really have that strong of like marketing exposure or brand exposure. So I feel like it's just a very competitive league it is right now because everybody's saying they're in the NBA, but you barely got G League like skills. You feel me? Like
That's true. Well,
everybody want to
this
NIL.
That's
this.
true.
This is
A
the
lot of G leagues.
democratization of everything. Is like everybody can
Anybody can do it.
be in the thing.
Yeah.
I feel like everybody doesn't deserve an NIL deal.
Right.
Yeah,
sure.
is what
yeah,
I'm saying.
I agree.
That's true.
I
That's right.
agree.
That's right.
You already know I'm telling you, I predict in 2025 there's gonna be an AI artist that wins
You did
a
say
musical.
that. You said that
I
this
put that in
year.
my predictions for.
You
I do
did.
a 2025
You did.
predictions,
Yeah.
but it got to be crazy. But it's probably gonna happen. So I put AI artist wins Grammy
That's
or what? Yeah.
crazy.
So it's y'all think that's crazy, but y'all just now saw that Meta got these AI characters that they rolled out. I don't know if y'all heard about
They
it.
pulled it back in like 3
Yeah.
days.
Yeah, well, because people started tearing Liv, the black AI character, up.
Yeah,
They was
they did.
tearing her tail up. I don't know if
Yeah.
y'all done seen it,
I
but they
ain't
was
see it.
like, "Give me what race mean to you?" She was like, brain fog, sister, spill the tea.
That's oh my
Hey,
god.
but that's how that thing alone is how I know. Like, Liv is putting out a hip hop album
Yeah.
this
Liv-
year,
Liv's in
and
the-
it's going to win.
Lives in the
Yeah.
booth somewhere.
Liv is in the booth, and she finna get a Grammy. Y'all gonna be mad because real artists are out and AI generated artists are in.
And maybe that's part of the question, right? Maybe
Yeah.
part of the question is that there is a bygone era where I'm of the era. I think technology is great, and I think it's whatever it is, what it is. But particularly in those industries, think about the way we make films,
Yeah.
right?
They're also doing AI in films.
Of
Yeah.
1,000%.
They're using
And special
AI.
effects have been around
Yeah,
forever,
yeah.
but it's this kind of thing of who was that? Adidas just dropped a commercial that was entirely
AI.
AI
models.
generated?
Yeah,
Yeah.
all of them.
The whole
There's not
thing?
a single model in that thing.
Not
It
a
was
real
all
person in it?
Not a real person in
We
it.
in trouble.
Yeah.
Right.
We in
So I think
trouble.
from a music standpoint, what does that mean? Do you view that as like, look, it's a tool that can be used, and if it's used, it's cool, or is it this kind of canary in a coal mine where it's like, look, all that piano playing and all those arpeggios you learn, that don't mean nothing.
I mean, it does mean something to somebody because
Okay.
I feel like at the end of the day, some people still love to go to the movie theater for that reason of that experience.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can package it that way, you're always going to sell that person because that's what business is. And you're going to have people who like AI, that grew up in AI. Like some people grew up in like Twitter or like TikTok, like just being real. You feel me? Like,
Right.
so I feel like you're still going to have the people who love the other. I don't think it's going to dilute as we like are kind of like projecting because
Really?
I don't think so because I'm big on manual at the end of the day. I'm big on those experiences and I understand it's a tool. And if I can teach somebody to like understand this is a hammer, you can use a hammer when you need to and when you don't, then awesome. Like I did my job. So yeah.
Huh.
There's also a line in which we press too far into the technological advances of a thing that you can start branding as an authentic version of now the oversaturated. So like all the movies are now AI, but I made my film that's coming out in 2026 was fully recorded with hands and had a mic person and all that. You know, like now your
Claymation coming back.
Yeah, like your film is now you're now getting to brand your thing as more authentic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is what
branding.
we do, right? I
We
mean,
can't do that now
remember-
because it's
And
a mixed bag.
I'm older than y'all, but like phones were huge, and then they got tiny, and then they got big again, and then they were flip phones, and then everyone wanted a touchscreen, and now we got flip phones again. Like this is just what we do. This is how we operate as a society. Is we just the pendulum just swings in every direction. In whatever direction we're going into, we hit that sort of point of diminishing marginal return and then whiplash back the other direction, right? All of a sudden, all these companies are like, we have folding phones. Everyone my age is like, what?
The
like, are you
folding
serious?
phones. Yeah,
And people are
honestly,
like,
I like them. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm like, I like the one screen, but that one that folds hot dog.
Right, but
Yeah. And
then
everybody
doubles inside,
that's
I'm like,
10 years
that
older
thing
than you,
lit.
everyone that's 10 years older than you is like, I had that in high school.
yeah.
I had one of those.
That's crazy. It's
And
crazy.
it had a keyboard in it, a physical keyboard in it. It was crazy. All this stuff where it's like, look at this new AirPod case with a touchscreen. I'm like, that's an iPod
that is
Nano.
an
We had
iPod
those.
Nano. That
We
is
had
an
them
iPod
as
Nano.
kids.
Yeah.
When I saw that, I was like, that's crazy.
So these are the moments where you're like, okay, like, all right, right? Like, there is nothing new under the sun.
Facts.
Also, we have to do our ad breaks actually this time because we do have a sponsor. But if you were just jumping in, this is Envision Radio from the United Way of Greater Charlottesville, News Radio 98.9, 1070 AM WINA. What is it? City of Promise also involved. That's me. I should say that
Yeah,
more
that's-
readily. That's my job.
If you missed that, that's on you.
that's a me thing. Also, big thanks to our sponsor, the Jefferson School Foundation, Marquis Price, Zach Hall here. So, take us through the chronology. So, ODU, we dabble in the numbers, we do some engineering, we do some computer science. Your parents are still not aware of kind of where they know where your head is, they don't know where your heart is.
Yeah,
All right. So, what are the next couple years? What are the late teens, early 20s? What happens end of college, and then what do you jump into post school?
So it's funny because I was gonna walk on or like attempt to walk on for ODU.
Yeah.
on
Football?
Yeah.
That was close to when they would kicked off, right?
What do you mean kicked off?
Like what year was that? It was like 2017.
Yeah, the football team's
COVID.
not old, yeah, right?
Yeah.
Oh.
That's that year. Okay. Got it.
Because they got a new stadium and everything.
Yeah,
But like I was
it's
gonna,
rolling.
That's right.
I was gonna walk on.
Okay.
COVID hit, so I finished the my senior year remotely, and then I did everything remotely for my lifespan in digital communications masters.
Okay.
So that's what that year looked like, but still grinding it out, like having to like serve pizzas. I worked at Papa John's during the time.
Really?
Yeah, and then I worked at the hotel, and then I worked at it's called Jump now, but it's called Get Air, but it was Jump.
Oh,
yeah.
Jump Seagull, right?
Yeah.
It's called Get Air?
Yeah, yeah.
Shout out to Get Air.
Shout out. Yeah, they're ACAC. So
That's right.
I was doing that, and then once I graduated, it's crazy. I got an internship in the music industry, working for a record label company.
Really?
Yeah,
cool.
a global record label company that I was going to try to work like for, or not work for, but like work on as an artist, so as a client.
Okay.
So it was like crazy because I was like behind the curtain. But like between that time of like getting that internship and like finishing my like grad school, I signed a publishing deal with Voodoo.io, which is like a gaming company up in Paris.
Okay.
And I like did that for like 7 months, and I learned a lot remotely. So
Cool.
that was really cool, and it was a great experience to like just to like pause. Like that's what that time was. But I gained so much because I was like working for ads, doing ad reports for like a bunch of big artists. And then I also did I finagled my way to getting a extension for my internship.
Sure.
And then I went over to like the publishing department too as well.
Okay.
And then once I was in there, I helped scale out their operations using like some cool software like Airtable and all that. That's really awesome. And then I just helped them just do like busy work, you can say, like seeing how deals work, seeing how the numbers work, and also like, you know what sync briefs are? So a sync brief is pretty much like, hey, I'm HBO and you have a bunch of music. Hey, I need some upbeat music, 80s for this scene. They're gonna be kissing and it's gonna be romance and all that.
Okay.
Can you give me something that fits that? All right, shop through the catalog. You send me what you got. If I like what it is, it fits the scene, then we're gonna send you a license for it. And we want to give you, since it's a one stop, I'll give you like $5K. Can you bring it up to 6? And that's how the negotiations work. So I was in those rooms, and it was really cool. Like I sent stuff for like Paramount, HBO, like Netflix, like Disney Plus.
Because every film needs music.
Yeah,
Like,
it's really the heartbeat and it's like the feel. Like
it's funny when someone I've seen some of that stuff that was like, what does the Star Wars scene look like without John Williams? And you're like, oh, this sucks.
yeah. Like you need
weird.
the
It's weird.
music
You're
in the
just like, oh.
background.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was a really great experience. And like the cool thing is I got one pitch landed on this series called Doc. It's on HBO.
Okay.
Yeah. It's pretty tough. Yeah.
What was it?
See, I forgot the specific song, but it was when I think it's like closer to like 7 episodes.
Okay.
I can't give you the specific details.
Okay.
Dude. I'll tell you after.
All right,
Like, yeah. I don't think it aired yet. Yeah. So,
All right.
And what is the show? But what is the show called?
Doc, DOC. Yeah.
That's a great opportunity.
Yeah.
So when you were there, what is the biggest takeaway that you learned there that you bring into your work now?
Keep it simple.
Keep it simple.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Many times when I was writing, like,
Keep it complicated.
like I was doing analytics for like a bunch of like their clients, and I just got a lot of feedback like just dumb it down, because like you're speaking to people who don't have that analytical brain. And like I was so used to being in school and like having those conversations. People aren't as interested in analytics. They just want to know how these ads are going to give me more of what I want. That's it. So understanding how people think, and then also like just like it influenced my sound too as an artist in reality. And it also helped me like influence like what I do on a day-to-day, because with my specific like I'll say like platform that I'm building and scaling, it runs off of CMS. So I got to see how they work in reality.
What's CMS?
CMS is a content management system.
Oh, like a CRM.
I mean, yeah, but it's media.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, you know. I was like,
oh, you
okay,
are
get what that thing is.
Yeah.
That sounds like what a CRM is,
Yep.
and it is.
It's like Salesforce.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
like
yeah.
for
Yes.
media. Yeah. So that's what I work on like a daily basis. I build my own stuff and all that, so I can just like manage and scale it. So
What? Will you look at me like?
No, I was gonna go.
Like
then
you were ruminating on something.
No, yeah. So go ahead.
All right. We got to get a video camera in here. We gotta figure that out. So what? Bring us to today. Like, what are the things that you're working on now? So you still making music?
oh yeah, I got
Okay.
another project coming out soon.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And then what else is going on concurrently?
So concurrently, I would say I have this platform. It's called officials.music.com.
Okay.
And it operates like Netflix in reality. So you know how they sell like obviously like movies, that's their content. My content is really in the vein of like music, so exclusive music and all that.
Okay.
And in reality, once I get more subscribers, then I'm gonna be able to like fund more ventures. And I want to build like workshops. Like that's one thing I really want to do, build a team, and like I'm helping artists develop. Like artist development is what took me to the next level, and I want to provide that for people just like me, and also partner with schools. You feel me? Because there's a lot of creative folks that don't really have the infrastructure and the pathway in reality. And like that's gonna go to a little bit like what I really wanted to like show praise to is like NBA, like Chamber of Commerce, like these things like are built for people to succeed. But the reason that a lot of people don't is because they don't know.
They don't
You feel
know.
me? They just don't know.
I mean, that is the downfall of most things.
You
Not knowing.
yeah.
You don't know what you don't know.
So I want to give people the knowledge and the fruit. That's how you even a playing field. Keep it real with you.
So is your platform one in which people can go on and listen to samples of beats and then purchase those beats?
So currently it is predominantly mine until I start like collaborating more.
You just
reality.
your beats?
Yeah, it's just mine. But like you go there, you can license beats, but also have a forum where you can share your music too as well. So you have music on Apple Music, Spotify, like wherever you can drop there, and then people can connect with you, and like hopefully that leads to a collaboration. But I'm still here too as well to collaborate with you, and also have the infrastructure to help you monetize it. Yeah.
I got it. So it works a little bit like a clearinghouse, and it helps people sort of. I mean, because it is a very fragmented business, right? Like there's just stuff everywhere.
Explain a little bit.
Well, I think about that. I mean, content in general feels like the people who do it well do it. They have, where to go. So again, this is a slightly dated reference, but back in my day. You watch TV shows, the old Batman thing was same bat date, same bat. Like you watched a show at a time on a day. CBS, 8 o'clock Monday. That's where you found it.
Yeah.
Now, because things are so anachronistic, you can access anything at any time across all these different platforms and channels and this, that, and the third. I feel like it must be hard for people whose business is content to figure out where to go. Where do you put stuff if people are looking everywhere? How do you build? Where do you start your sort of brand building enterprise, right?
Yeah.
And so, to your point, if everything is about this, you're a brand. You're also a brand sort of on a platform, right? And that's how these things work, and it's sort of like, and it seems to be sort of even generational, right? TikTok's cool until is TikTok going to be around next week?
Yeah,
is that a thing? Is this
somebody,
January 19th?
They are in the process of some rich people buying it.
Is that right?
Yeah, some people buying it. I'm not gonna say the type of people who are buying it, but some people who are gonna buy it. I'm not gonna talk about the type of people who are buying it. But they're the type of media that is buying it.
Okay.
Yeah. Which was I think was the plan the whole time.
Okay.
To insource a data mining, so that it wasn't in another country's data mining.
Sure. But so for you, right, who makes content, has experience with that. I mean, do you find that you're almost spoiled for choice, right? Where do you go heavy? Is it YouTube? Is Twitter? I'm never gonna call that thing X. I won't.
Your mama named you Twitter. I'm gonna call you Twitter.
I won't.
What Elon gonna do?
Is Instagram still around? Is TikTok? Say, like, how does that work in sort of your world? Do you have a point of view on? Is there too much? Is it actually? Does that make more opportunity, or is it just too flooded and confusing?
I kind of see it as just like holistically, it's just a way to promote. Okay. And usually, like in the past, I used to rely on it for like my business model, and I think I'm speaking for like the artist community, should see it as a place to promote, just like you were give out like news flyers to people.
Sure.
You feel me? So like, depending on your community, depending on like the type of people you're trying to reach, will determine what platform you should focus on. But in reality, understanding that you can run ads too. So I see it as a place to run ads to drive people to where I really want them to go, and that's my crib. That's official ZachHallMusic.com.
Okay.
Where do you usually promote official crib? Like I guess platform, like specific platform.
Instagram. Instagram is what I'm focused on. Yeah.
Cool. What is the Instagram for people who want to find
official ZachHallMusic?
Hey.
Yeah.
Keep it simple.
I know. That's oh my God. That's what you just now said. Yeah. Keep it simple.
Yeah. So talk a little bit about has being from here and now being back here. And this is a question we've asked other people too. Do you find that as helpful, or sort of are there barriers to that because people knew you when? Oh, I remember him when he was.
Yeah, I feel like I've never thought about that, but I feel like that is hard.
Right, because I mean, we're all sort of evolving, and as you become, an adult and you're doing different stuff. I mean,
remember the baby.
Maybe that's exactly right. Like, I remember him when he was, when he was bopping around this, that, or has it helped you to be like, oh yeah, I was his teacher, I was his coach, I know he'll do his business. Like, how have you found being an adult in the place where you were a kid?
Honestly, I feel like it's been my benefit because, like, I've always been a hungry person, and I feel like that character resonated with people and all that. So I really feel like the taste you leave in people's mouths will either like benefit you or be your poison to your destiny. And like, I feel like it's been like my benefit in reality. And honestly, I really haven't realized how small this town is, and people know me or know of me because of like my brother or like my sister or like my dad and my mom. So like, Yeah, that's just me. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a benefit
Yeah.
to being from a place as a child and adult, but I also see the benefit of like going someplace new and getting to decide who I am, not people having to decide for me because
Yeah.
I was a kid and I made mistakes and they knew me for one thing and now I got to overcome this person that I'm not anymore. I think that it's, a good opportunity to be able to start fresh and get to decide here and now that I'm this is the person I am and no one can tell me otherwise because they don't know me.
Yeah.
So I get both sides. What about you? I've never heard. What do you think about that, because you're from here too?
Yeah.
You came back?
Generally, for me, very positive. I mean, my
Yeah,
parents
your
were both
family, you're
teachers
famous.
for 40 years, and I think that's been really good. The hard part for me is obviously depending on what you want it to be. If I really want to be my own person in a town where my parents have reputational,
Yeah.
sort of cachet, I could. It's harder to do, right? I've realized that as I got older, that if I lean into that, then it's probably good for me. Now, the hard part is that the people who have relationships with your family,
Yeah.
that when you get into positions where, I've been lucky enough to be in and I can make decisions and stuff, then you have to have some conversations about like, look, like, I'm not a
Yeah.
kid anymore. I
Yeah.
have other responsibilities. I have
Yeah.
organizational responsibilities, familiar responsibilities. And so I think if you're surprised by it, it can be hard. I think if you're ready for it, then you just have to understand, it is what it is. And kind of like you have to distill a little bit the good things that your family's reputation passed down to you. They come with a little bit of like, hey, can you do this for me because I'm the friend of your, right?
Yes. That would be.
And not in like a mafia way,
No,
right? It's nothing like that, but it is just a thing that sometimes, you have to be wary of, and you just have to be on alert about. But for me, I think generally it's been, more than anything, it's just been the good outweighs the bad, especially when you have kids. It's good to have your grandparents. It's good to have the grandparents nearby.
Yeah. For real.
So more than anything, the tactical ability to call mom and dad and say, y'all need to come get these kids.
Well, that's why being from the greater part of Charlottesville, Orange County, rep my set, is that I grew up here, had a lot of family here, so I grew up here, spent summers here, winters here. My grandma lives here, a lot of family here. Is that you had that, but there's a disconnect in people really knowing who you are. Like, it's not like I went to Almar
That's
or
right.
Charlottesville.
Yeah.
So it's close enough and familiar enough that, like, the land felt like home.
That's right.
But I could still make my name. Like, it's never like, oh, you're so-and-so's granddaughter. It's like me doing my own thing, and they're like, this is who I am. And like, oh, well, do you know so-and-so? I'm like, yeah, that is my grandma.
That's right.
Like, oh, of course you don't know, because I'm not generally specifically from pin drop here. And so I got to make my name, whatever name I've made for myself thus far, on my own. And
That's right.
I've enjoyed that because it's a little bit of familiarity, but people don't have to like, I remember when you couldn't walk.
Yeah, that's right.
And
That's right. I babysat you.
Yeah.
and that's
So it's far enough away
Yeah.
that it I enjoy the locality of how greater Charlottesville raised me and was able to bring me in as a secondary citizen.
Sure.
I don't know if that feels like
Yeah.
racism, but
No, it's just one of those things. Like the upside to going somewhere entirely different is you get to reinvent yourself.
You
The
get to reinvent
downside is you
yourself.
don't
I've
have
always
anything
wanted
to.
to.
You don't have anything to start with, right?
Very true.
So what's it worth to start in a little bit? And it's funny, and I'm saying this, and you can't. Listening to this can't see us, but I've been trying to figure out. I've been trying to place because I know you, and I can't.
He looks
remember
so
from where.
familiar.
Well, he looks like his brother, and that's where I
Oh, yeah.
finally was
That's
like,
what
Is it an
everybody-
older brother
That's
or
what
younger?
his older brother,
Yeah.
and that's when I was finally like, oh, because his older brother was in school with me,
Oh,
and his
see, that's
dad
what I'm saying.
was the photographer for our basketball team, and I was starting to put those things together, and I finally got there. I was
See?
like, oh, caught it, because I was looking at him sideways. I was like, I
No, he
can't.
looks
like,
familiar, but everybody
anyway, I
looked
finally
everybody
got
looked
there.
familiar.
Who is this guy?
So, yeah. Well, I was just like, man, like,
That's what you get for living in town and staying here, both of you.
You
it's
ever
just
get that moment? Like, I think I know that person, but
All
I
the
don't want
time.
to say something
Yeah,
because
me
they're gonna be
too.
like,
That happens to me all the time. I wait till they walk away and then yell the name I think they are.
yeah, that's
So
even,
if you turn
even,
around,
that's even weirder.
you turn around, it's you. No, it's not. You turn around, it's you. You don't turn around, it's not you.
Yeah, but then what
Like,
do
I've
you
been
say
like,
when?
Zion.
But then when they turn around, what are you just like?
Oh, I think
Hey,
the one
like-
time I did that, I was like, "There's no way that's the guy I think it is," but it looks just like him. And I was like, "Zion," and they didn't turn around. But then I texted them because I swore I was like, "Hey, yo, I just saw somebody who looked just like you."
And he was like, "There's this crazy girl yelling at me."
He was like, someone. I was like, "Are you at this place?" He was like, "Yeah, I'm at that place." I said, "No, it was you." I said, "I yelled your name. You didn't turn around, so it couldn't have been you." And he was like, "I didn't know I would know anybody
That's
here."
what I'm saying. Like I
You
got
know
people
what?
yelling at me in the street.
That is the tactic that I have been using. Because if you hear your name,
always text my homeboys. Yeah.
Like, I think I seen you.
Right. Yeah. If someone
It should
yells,
work. It
someone
should work.
yells at me in the street, I'm like, no, absolutely
in theory it should work because that's your name. So turn around, right?
It
hasn't.
It depends.
So if somebody yells your name, you're not trying to see who it is.
If I recognize the voice,
That's
if
right.
it's like
That's a lot. No, not recognizing the voice. Somebody just called your name.
No.
Zach Hall. You're not turning around.
All right. If somebody like said Zach Hall,
Yeah,
I'm like,
right.
all right, that's
Yeah, no,
different.
Zach. Yeah.
Yeah, if you get a full name, but also
I
if
didn't
it's
yell
like,
the didn't yell the full name, but
if
I'm gonna
it's
start.
like out of context. So like, where were you?
So I was in North Carolina. So
Yes, absolutely
This is crazy.
not.
I was in North
Absolutely
Carolina
not.
at the women's ACC basketball tournament.
No.
Okay.
And why would he be there? And a
But
friend of
why
mine.
would in a different state at a random sporting
That's what
event?
I'm saying.
But
But
that's what I'm
I was thinking, how could this person that I know from Virginia be in the exact same place as me in North Carolina?
But yeah, they
So I
call it the
said, I was like,
governmental.
Zion, yo, Zion. This person kept walking. I said, it looked just like him, but it can't be, couldn't be.
In a
And it turned out it
stadium
was.
of 30,000
30,000
people? No, if someone yelled at me, I'm like, absolutely not.
Yeah.
I'm not, no.
If that's your name.
But if they double back with the governmental, like
Yeah,
Zach
that's
Hall,
right, that's right,
Okay.
that's right,
I
that's right.
did not say the last name, and so I'm gonna add that to my
Yeah.
Put in
My
strategy
bag.
back.
Get
Yeah.
like some descriptive, like, in the black hoodie. Give them the whole thing, right?
Like
Okay.
I know you from
Yeah,
high
that's
school.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right. That's right.
I'm
That's
saying-
right.
Mom, this is
Or like say, maybe I should start yelling my name. It's Marky. And if you know a Marky, then you turn around. Like if you
That's
knew a Mike, would
probably
you turn
helpful.
around?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's a different thing. But that's a lot of information to get out at one time. Like now
I
you're
don't know
going
what to
through
say.
the whole,
You
like-
don't ever want to be embarrassed that it's not the person you think it is.
Yeah, it's not great. But I think his strategy is pretty good. Just give him a quick, like, hey, yo.
Yo, are you at this location,
Yeah.
my guy?
Be like, yeah, which you did anyway.
I
You
did.
had to do
Well,
that
because I was
anyway.
like, my mind is playing tricks on me. Yo, and I was like, it's so funny. Would it be so funny if you were here too? But I know it wasn't you. He was like, that was me. I was like, okay,
Yeah.
you
lost-
ain't turned around.
You lost twice on that.
I know.
Anyway, if you're just jumping in, this is Envision Radio from the United Wave Greater Charlottesville and City of Promise. News Radio 98.9, 1070 AM WINA. Big thanks to our sponsor, the Jefferson School Foundation. Price Markey and Zach Hall here, who we just finally figured out who we all are, and we're good, and we're there. So tell me about your work with NBA. How did you get linked up with them? How long have you been a part of NBA, and kind of what is the work that you've been doing with the Minority Business Alliance?
Like funny story is like my first I'll say time collaborate. Well, I wouldn't say collaborating, just meeting them.
Yeah.
Is when I went to their office town town
Downtown.
before
Yeah.
I think they moved.
They moved. Yeah.
Oh, did they really?
They
Yeah.
moved. Please don't ask me to dress. I actually just asked Andrea to dress, and I still don't know. She told it to me. I was like, yeah, no, that's it.
I recall it.
I don't know where it is.
But I went over there and then I just met some great people. Like I met Quentin, I met
Yeah.
Miss Andrea. So it was just awesome. Just being in that environment, and I was the youngest person there. It was kind of
Sure.
weird.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Old people own businesses.
It was just different because I was usually I'm going and I'm either not the oldest, but I'm usually around people my age. So I'm
Mhm.
I just gotta get used to this social environment. But the work I've done, specifically I've done photography work and all that.
Mm.
That's been the thing that's allowed me to get into the rooms
Mhm.
and doors and just also help people out because I like helping people out, but also just Miss Andrea just has been a blessing, honestly,
Mhm.
because she's allowed me to be in those rooms, talk to people, network, and just find myself. So that's really holistically the work I've done has been photography, but informally just networking because I want to have a full circle moment where I'm helping everybody out in reality. And you just gotta get yourself out there, and that's the stuff I've been doing with NBA. It's just being out there, meeting young professionals, figuring out how I can help people with marketing because that's a service that I provide too.
Mhm.
Like I said, photography. So those two things go hand in hand.
Sure.
And then licensing for beats is kind of a niche. So
Yeah, sure.
you can't
Sure,
bring
You
that
went to the
everybody.
guy
Yeah,
who's,
that's right.
who's in the
That's
NBA
right.
for bread, and you're like, I'll take your photo for your website. Do you have a bread website? And then he's like, also, you need a
You need a
beat for
track
your
this?
ad. You want to do a bread ad? Well, the
Yeah.
thing you need for a bread ad is a beat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So explaining that to people who's really not huge into it and might
Sure.
just
Yeah.
grab a sound off of social media, like they don't really see the value in it, like compared. But I'm not gonna speak for them. It's just I just noticed in conversations like it's easier to go with like photography, and I can help with marketing. And if you ever need help, like let's chop it up, and if it makes sense, we can do work.
You can't just take a beat off the internet these days, can you?
I mean,
That's illegal, right? Is it?
you can,
yeah.
but it's illegal.
I was like, I didn't think you could do that.
Yeah, you can.
You mean like you can, as in like physically in the action of doing it, but not legally? We're saying, okay. I was just making sure I know what we meant.
Right,
I said, okay, people are doing it, but yeah, you can get
piracy.
like piracy.
Yeah, sure.
Piracy about to come back with a vengeance.
You think so?
Also, yeah.
Like you're saying it wasn't back? It hasn't been back?
I'm saying with all these streaming services, and now they're reinvented cable essentially.
Again, this is what we're talking about.
Piracy will be up. Okay, 2025 piracy's up. I'm sorry to the companies, not me.
AI Grammy winner and piracy is back.
Yeah,
Wow.
piracy is the bag. Okay,
All right.
LimeWire too, all of them.
Wow.
You said LimeWire. Wow.
Man.
You were
I'm
way
just trying to
back.
help them. I'm trying to help the companies.
Wow.
Piracy's back.
That's-
Maybe you gotta start putting that thing on the front of movies where it's like, piracy is not a victimless crime.
Oh, right. The big,
yeah, like,
right.
It carries up to a federal fine of $600.
Yeah.
This cannot be replicated or reproduced. You're gonna have to start putting that back because they will be stealing
That's
from
less
you.
than I'm
sorry.
paying for this Disney Plus subscription. I'm just going to steal it.
That's what I'm saying. Like when I was growing up, I knew people who like sold DVDs out the back of their truck.
Oh,
like
yeah.
Of course.
some people I know had a lot of movies. Like
Yeah.
people was really in the theater with their camcorders. I know
Yeah.
for sure. I know.
Oh, all kind of
I
terror.
do.
Harry,
So that's
Harry
about to
Potter,
come back
3Ts.
heavy.
Yeah.
Like I'm finna see
Cool.
Wicked on a DVD. like
I finally watched it.
ow.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm still missing out, man.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's okay. You're missing out, but it's okay. We're not gonna judge you for not seeing the best movie of 2024.
I'm gonna catch up.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. So how
It
did you
is.
get into photography, or you always doing photography with the beats?
I mean,
business?
like, photography is just something that like my dad's done it, so I've been around it.
Okay.
Yeah, so like it's something that I'm just familiar with.
Mhm.
I wouldn't say like I'm a photographer, but I have a good eye and
No
like
Vogue shoots.
I being somebody who's done it all by himself, like especially like while building up this business, you got to figure it out. So like for example, like I've recorded like my own music videos and all that. So like I do all my own edits. Like everything you see, I hate to like say it, but like I've like really did it. Like
One
it's
man business.
high key. Yeah. So like yeah. But like obviously I always still have help, like ideas, but like the technical stuff, like I had to learn on myself. Like I really had to. So
Google. I used to Google this. I used to Google everything. I'm like, how do you add a row in Excel? How do you create formulas in Excel? Like WordPress. How do you add a page, especially when you left? How do you edit page on website on
They put that in. They gave that to you.
I was doing all the website edits.
look.
Like the staff page, the word. Me on Google. Can't even type, just one finger. Like WordPress update. It was teaching me everything. I was down and out.
That's a way to learn.
Hey, dug it out.
That's a way to learn. That's right.
YouTube videos, like I would not be here today without them YouTube videos.
Yeah. So let me ask you this: what is your You're doing a lot of different things, right? One could argue or say that like you have a wide berth. Is it harder to focus on any one thing? Do you find that they complement each other in a way that like the suite makes sense, or do you ever find yourself being like, man, I like that, but like my energy's better used here, or doing this, or I want to further this, right? And do you have those moments where you're like, all right, I like what I'm doing, but this feels like more of a hobby. My set of like professional services is going to scale to something different.
Yeah, I be thinking about that all the time, and like I was like very fragmented to the point it was stressful when I first started out, because it's like how do you advertise a B2B and a B2C like brand
That's right.
in one like message? And like all to say is I noticed that if I really want to scale what I'm doing, I have to, like a friend told me, like focus on subscriptions in reality. And one thing I've learned is like watching other people do it, like me, like DIY artists, do-it-yourself artists, is like working seasons in reality until like you build a team. Like for me, what I'm doing is admin work. Like creativity is like you chilling at the crib, your socks are off, like you wearing like whatever you want to wear and you're making something, you feel me? Or
Sure.
like you're being with your family, like you are doing that. But when you're doing the admin work, it's like you have to like have a plan of action in reality.
Yeah.
And like that took time to like really develop. But holistically, I focus project by project when I'm building out my stuff, and then when I'm finding the opportunity to like network with other people like in person, then I advertise what I have do going on. But in reality, what's going to help me scale is really like running my ads to like get people to subscribe and just getting more visibility, because that's what's going to leapfrog everything else.
Right.
In reality, for like this cash flow. So,
Right. And you're still finding time. You said you've got a project coming out. You're still
Yeah.
finding time to make stuff. Is that always going to be a part of it?
I mean, yeah, but I work so far in advance. Like the project that I have coming out, Small City Bigger Dreams, like I recorded that stuff like 2 months ago.
Okay.
And usually with me, like once I'm able to get more people like on a cohort and like, all right, we're doing this, this, and this,
Yeah.
it'll be more streamlined. But I would take my photos a certain day, and then that's done and it's already pocketed.
Sure.
And then I work on like my say icons and my logos, and then that's already pocketed. So I'll work months in advance in reality. But one thing I have, like I said before, been trying to like figure out is what is my like general branded message. So that's going to be what people come and recognize
That's
me
right.
for.
That's right.
And I circle back. That's the subscriptions. So like if anybody wants to get involved with what I'm going on, like I make music for purchase and licensing.
Right.
If you want it, come over to my website and subscribe to it.
Right.
That's it. So,
Right.
yeah.
Right. And you had mentioned this. I just want to make sure I get this right. Is that as it is currently stated, all of the stuff on the site is yours, but there is an eye towards opening that door for other folks.
Oh, it's built for other folks
Okay.
too as well. So like, say if you wanted to collaborate with me,
Yep.
all we do is figure out the royalty splits.
Okay.
And like how that looks is, all right, what do you want to do with it? Do you want to put it on stream, or do you want to like have this house on the website? Because if it's
Sure.
house on the website, then we're going to formulate a contract to finance what you're going to get in reality.
Sure.
And then we just like follow what's on the contract. So if anybody wanted to work with me, like you can just simply come over to my website, and then you can just send your ideas and then like just pitch a collaboration. If we do
Right.
a project, then I'll help you do like a pre-sale deal if you want to put it on stream, or if you just want to just like get some mixing and mastering, like just depending on what you like pitch is like what you get. So it's that simple.
Sure.
Yeah. So it's built for other artists too as well.
Do you collaborate with other artists in Charlottesville?
Yeah. I collaborated with a producer named Isaiah Cousins.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and then I collaborated. It's cool. It's a funny story, but it's a producer up in Belgium. Like I made it's gonna be on my next project. Fire.
Belgium.
He's fire. He's fire.
Was
He
that-
is
was that-
fire.
I don't know.
Was
Was
that-
that
was
was
that
that a
Flemish? Was
Belgian?
that
Belgian? It was Belgian.
Oh, that's what
I don't know what the accent I like. The vision.
Oh my gosh, that's
Because
incredible.
we've had a couple artists on here. Tasia was on here
Uh-huh.
in December, and she's a rapper. So I was just wondering.
I want to work with artists in like
Yeah,
Charlottesville.
yeah.
In reality,
Yeah.
like
Okay.
honestly, like I wish there was like a studio, like a major studio where artists can connect and all that. If you know of
Is
one,
there
please
one?
let me know.
In
No.
Charlottesville?
No, I was like, is there one?
Yeah.
I was trying to think.
Not that I know.
Oh.
If not, like we try and
No.
build something.
Yeah,
That's all
sure.
I gotta say. Yeah,
I think
for
that's.
real.
I think that's.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of this in the professional realm makes sense, right? But then
Yeah.
there's also, particularly in your world and my world, is there's this whole thing of, I think your story is really interesting, and I think the things that I've learned about your story today, and that I knew about your family prior, right, and what you got from what you had, is really important to put those two things together, right? And it's funny now that I put the pieces together, because I know your dad, and so there was no slippage in there, right? You know what I'm saying? And so it's that
Yeah.
kind of thing of I think what's important is that where are those places and spaces for the kids like you without the structure like you, right?
Yeah.
Is there a place where you now, right, can be present for the kids who want to do what you want to do, or a part of what you do, or are doing a version of it anyway, to get their arms wrapped around them in a way that makes sense, right? And so I think there's a particularly cool application of that, because I think that, again, I say this all the time, I'm very biased towards sports, and I played sports professionally. Sports were my life, right? But I think we over-index on that, right?
Yeah.
And I think what we don't understand is that if you play sports for a long time, you still might be 20. You still might
Yeah.
be 25. Like, there has to be a second act, maybe even a third, fourth, fifth act, right?
Yeah.
So how do we create opportunities to explore the variety of artistic endeavors that exist
Yeah.
much earlier, and in the same way that we do sports, right? We've got every infrastructure around sports,
Yeah.
right? We don't have that same thing for film and
Yeah.
for music and for art
Yeah.
and for woodworking and for all of this other stuff, you know? And so I wonder, is there a part of you that's like, look, I do this, but do you ever feel that? Like, do you catch that vibe of like, man, there's a real opportunity to, for lack of a better term, pay this forward in a way that if we had infrastructure built around it could be really beneficial?
It is, because when you really think about it, like marketing is what makes all these companies a lot of freaking money.
Sure.
And what helps our athletes get like really big NIL deals. You feel me? So like we're in a like setting where like college players are going to be getting paid like college athletes. So that even lowers the bar of like having accessibility to that, and like also promotes a lot of opportunity. Like my boy Dante, he has like a photography club, and like that shows you there's an interest there. Like there's kids out here doing it, and like you said, there's just like a lack of representation is what I would say too as well. Of like, hey, this man made it doing both school, professionally, and art. So you don't have to pick both sides.
That's
like
right.
maybe it's been back in the day, but like yesterday's not today is all I gotta really say. So like I strive to like at least show people like you can do both, and like I'm willing to like build like a bridge towards it and like build these partnerships and have these conversations to like really make some like applications work.
Yeah.
But it just like at the end of the day, it just takes more hands than just two. So like I agree with everything that you're saying. Like there is like there's so much opportunity. I feel like, in my opinion, music and arts is seen as like prestigious, like Berkeley College, when it can be not low level, like for the peasants, you can say.
Accessible.
But yeah, it's just really accessible.
That's
Yeah. That's really it.
And I think I think we have to take zeitgeist into account, right? We are living in a generation where kids are more immersed in technology younger. So it's an easy leap to say, like, you know, all of those videos that you're making for social media, like, okay, cool. Let's put something around that, right? If you know that, because I think what we have a hard time doing is recognizing demonstrated interest that's a little adjacent and then fostering that into something real, right? Like again, I grew up in the pencils on the school table era, right? But that's a thing. That's a thing. And some people look at that as like, oh, these kids are just noisy, but like there's art to that. And
there can be them skills.
Well, there can certainly be art to that, right? And the same kind of thing. The kids that are, you know, but here's the thing is that we do that with sports. We take busy kids like me and we say, you need to get that energy out, go play soccer. And then we go, ooh, he's pretty good. And then we shape that. And then, oh, look. And then we tell that story of like, he was just a kid who couldn't sit still. And now look at him. Right? We don't do that in the same way with the kids that are drawing on the bathroom stalls and the kids that are banging on the tables and the kids that are right. We don't do that. We say, well, this kid's just undisciplined and da-da-da. We don't take that little nugget of like, oh, that's a thing. And I think, one, we don't recognize it the same way, but two, I don't think we have any place to put it. We don't know. Like, we can't say, yeah, look, that kid, send him down to that studio 3 times a week, and we can turn this into a thing. And so I think part of it, it's kind of a chicken and egg argument. Like, do you need a critical mass of people to build it, or do you build it for sort of the small demonstrated interests that we sort of see peppered around our youth? And that would be my argument. It's like, build it and we can fill it, you know. And if there's people like you there, and there's people like Dante there, and there's people like, you know, Isaiah there's folks there, we can be like, look. And I think your point's really well taken of like, it's not you do this instead of the stuff that's non-negotiable, right? You go to school, you know, and I think that's what I'm talking about with you is like, you had that structure that was like, look, you can do all this other cool stuff, but like that door stays, like that room stays tight, right? And that is sort of your ticket to the. So let me ask you this. Clearly now, like, you know, your folks know what you're doing. How did they when did you tell them? How did they receive it? Like, what was that like?
I mean, I think they caught the gist when I wasn't going to sleep till like probably.
So you just let them figure it out on their own, just kind of like.
I'm not gonna tell them. They're gonna have to figure it out. If they don't never know, that'd be all right.
Dude, yo, I have so many stories of my dad using the restroom, and then like he stops, and like, and I can see him, but he can't see me. And then I get back up, I get straight to it. So like,
right.
I think they figured it out, but it won't like, y'all want to do this. Like, it's more so because I know what's gonna happen. Like, well, you better keep on like experiencing like education and wisdom, dude. So like, I just knew like that's always been, but like I think they figured it out.
I'm not for sure, but
when
they should have it by now.
When I told them, they didn't really have a response. It was kind of like,
yeah. That's interesting. All right, give me we're at the beginning of a year, so it's a good time to do this. What does this time next year look like? Sort of, and because you've talked a lot about, look, I plan up front, I do work in advance, like so you've got that, which is an ability I wish I had. I'm just like, yeah, what are we doing at 11?
I'm terrible at it. I'm terrible.
What comes next? So what have you charted out for this year?
All right, Godspeed. I really want to get like 10,000 subscribers.
Okay.
And I'm able to do that. I'm able to provide a lot of experiences for my members and all that. And I have really planning out what I wanted to do is like a music project every quarter. So that's like 4 projects.
Oh, wow.
But the thing with me is like, I really like music. I can make a bunch of music, like a lot of music. But I want to provide a space for other artists to come in, for lack of better words. And like DJ Khaled does it really well. And like I want to provide that opportunity for other artists to come in and we help monetize that stuff. So to really give you like a SMART goal, a number with it, 10,000 subscribers. Everything else is out of my wheelhouse. You know, like you want to work with me or you don't at the end of the day. Or you want to partner with me or you don't. But 10,000 subscribers is what I'm really reaching for in reality. Yeah. And there's a free trial if you ever like interested. So
yeah, give us. This is a good time for that. So give us what's the quick and dirty, the rundown. Give us the that's a good thing. That's a good thing to close with. Yeah.
Sales pitch.
Yeah.
All right, my sales pitch. No, like
Elevator.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm a music artist and producer as well. And if you enjoy my music and you want a little bit more experience and excitement, I recommend that you come over to my website, officialzakhallmusic.com, where you can get individual tracks, but also save yourself the hassle of getting on individual tracks by getting a subscription. You're access to every single thing. And that includes my songs, lyric videos, music videos, podcast episodes. But the cool thing is you also earn reward points by being a subscriber too as well. So over time, you also are able to redeem that stuff for apparel. And the cool thing with me, and I'm just putting this out there, is once I'm able to get more cash flow, I have more people that saying, hey, I really like this. I'm going to start bringing in some other artists to help make some merch because I mean, art is just not songs and just not videos. It's also apparel.
Sure.
Let's think about it. Sure. So I really wanted to start like providing this platform to give back to the community in the ways I see plausible in reality. So if you enjoy this message and also you heard my songs or you want to get like a little taste of it, go to officialzakhallmusic.com. And the best way to learn is to start your free trial is all I can really say. Yeah. And you can have access to everything. That's all I can say.
That is Zach Hall. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having
me. My friend, if you have ideas for the show here in the new year, want to get in touch with us, check us out on social media on all platforms at United Way Seville, at City of Promise, or drop us a note in Vision, UnitedWaySeville.org. Again, that is officialzakhallmusic.com, and it is at official Zach Hall.
Yeah. Zach Hall. Yeah, official Zach Hall Music.
Got it. Official Zach Hall Music or officialzakhallmusic.com. Big thanks to our sponsor, the Jefferson School Foundation, and we get support on the show also from the wonderful staff of the United Way. So if you like what you hear, share with your friends, subscribe on your favorite podcast platform, wherever you get podcasts these days. And of course, the best way to continue to support the incredible nonprofits of Charlottesville, time, talent, and treasure. We will take it all. For Zach and Marky, this is Price. Welcome to 2025. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Ciao.